Right on.
Hey.
All right, PDQ&A. Yeah, Lex was
Bring it on.
Yeah. Lex was supposed to wear one of his many social distortion shirts today. He didn't.
Next week, guys. Someone's got to remind me on Wednesday.
Let the record show I'm wearing one of my Tom Waits shirts. Anyway.
So we made him wear his dunce shirt.
My dunce, I'm a nerd shirt. It won't be the
wear it
first
with
time,
pride,
but
brother.
last time.
All right, we got a bunch of questions. I guess we're going to go ahead and
Should we get on this?
throw down. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get started with John M. Dear Lex and Shane, is there a way to use PDQ Deploy to push out installs to laptops in the field? They have 4 LTE connectivity and use Netmotion, so there is a secure VPN tunnel to the laptops. There is no DNS, but static IP addresses. Push or pull method for package transfer. We have full admin access to laptops in the field, and they are not joined to a domain. Thanks.
Well, a couple things in that kind of stand out to me. If you've got static IP addresses, you could build a host file. Mm-hmm. I mean, once you have that host file on your console.
Yeah, you might want to do that if they're always out in the field. You could also you could create a static DNS entry, mm-hmm. as long as that computer if that computer comes back in, then it could
pick up the same.
Yeah, it could get a new address. But if it's always out there, you could throw a static record, a record into DNS. So as long as as far as the tunnel, the
mm-hmm.
VPN tunnel. The same rules apply. You have to be able to access via SMB, file and print sharing. You have to be able to access that admin $share, which is the shared Windows directory.
You also have to be able to ping it, otherwise it's going to say the thing's offline. Another thing you can think about with this is, if you've got that static DNS in there, inventory, you could set up a heartbeat schedule with inventory, so when they do come online. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that will. In order to do that, I'm not sure if you have this in your VPN, but if you want to use the heartbeat, you're going to need to have ICMP echo request turned on so that they can respond to pings. By the way, if you are going to be, since they're not joined to the domain, I don't know if you've done this yet. In both deploy and inventory, you're going to want to go to your preferences, go to credentials, and you're going to want to add a local. One or more, local accounts, not attached to a domain.
They've got admin rights, yeah.
Correct.
So
in this case, we've got one called Vincent. I'm going to open it up. Notice we keep the domain field blank. Just type in the local account. And if you have different account naming, you might just use administrator, or you might have a general admin account that's the same. Mm-hmm. If it's the same account name, same password, you can just use the one set of credentials. If you have multiple, then you might need to do something like for engineering local admin or something like that. You can create multiple credentials and
use those to deploy. Yeah.
Yeah, you create a little note there. Yada yada yada. Use those credentials to deploy to those computers.
Yep.
All right. So the answer is yes. Since they're not in DNS, you're going to have to do some other method like the host file or a static DNS record.
Next question from the effervescent Monica K. Using inventory reports, how can I best find all device serial numbers, computers, displays, disk drives, etc., associated with each individual user? Would it be best to add a custom field for computers' primary users and use that in conjunction with device serial number reports?
I got this one.
All right.
Yes. All right, moving on.
Okay, so I'm going to modify it.
Now you're going to expand on that.
There's also another one. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the benefits of using the custom field, Monica. Yeah, it is a one-time hit. As a new computer comes on or a user changes, you have to go in there and change on that computer that custom field. We do grab a couple of Active Directory attributes.
I was going to say,
some people do. Some of our customers do use those. One of the more popular ones is the description field. So, the cool thing about this is if you want to use description, then you can just then it's centrally
one place to keep the info.
Yeah, you just throw that information in there, especially if you have Active Directory sync enabled in inventory. This is where you can set up your Active Directory synchronizations and your preferences. Active Directory here, we're syncing everything in Deadwood Computers, OU, and we do it every 6 hours. You could obviously, I think the default is every 1 hour. Then if that changes, this sync will pick it up. Also, any inventory scan profile that uses the Active Directory scanner will also update that. So that's one cool thing. Also, whether it's a custom field, so let's say you want to create a custom field, go back into preferences, go to custom fields, new field, we'll call this, we'll do a text, make primary user, right? Then anytime if you want to go into Abby, the computer Abby, go into custom fields, there's your primary user, you know. Then you can do that. The cool thing about the custom tools and the Active Directory description is that they are both located in the computers table. So you don't have to do any special joins or anything like that. Your reports are just going to be pulling all from the computers table. You would see primary user. You'll also see Active Directory description.
Yeah, nice simple reports.
So you have a couple of options.
Yep. Yes, didn't just cover that, did it?
No, I wanted to throw the AD stuff out there.
Our next question is from Daryl, or Darrell, to his friends. Dear Shane, Lex, and Chris in spirit, I guess. Using PowerShell and Inventory, what's a reliable way to check computers for pending reboots? And what is requesting the reboot? Example, file changes, updates, install, etc.
Shane, I could be wrong, but we already pulled that in inventory, don't we?
We pull some of it.
Yeah.
So we might want to yield to Chris on the PowerShell, or Chris or Jordan on the PowerShell portion. But in inventory, we have as part of the computer info scanner, which should be part of all of your scan profiles, hopefully. Right here, if you look in the computer, I'm going to open up just the computer window here. You will see needs reboot near the bottom of the operating system. So there's a special registry key
that will pull if it's.
And this is where whenever you have an application that says, hey, you need to reboot to have these changes take effect or anything like that, there's certain flags that they will play that applications or the operating system will place in a registry key to say these are some actions that are going to be performed at the next reboot. So part of your question was to find out which one. No, this scanner doesn't do that. It just says, hey, there are actions that are going to be performed at the next reboot, therefore a reboot is needed. But if you want to get down and dirty and find out exactly what is requesting that, perhaps there is a PowerShell.
Yeah.
There's probably a number of ways you can do that, but part of your question is just answered there. Look for needs reboot. In fact, I think we do have
reboot required.
Yeah, we have a reboot. One of the default collections is a reboot required, and this is basically, as of the last scan, any computer that has that flag set.
Yes, yep.
And actually, just so you know, there are a couple of. You look in this registry key, the exact path eludes me for the moment, but there are some values that we also ignore in there that can actually mean a reboot's not necessary. We found that through trial and error, but this should probably take care of it for you. You can just look to see which computers need a reboot. And once again, this is based off of, in the scan profiles, any scan profile that has the computer details. I think I said computer info. Yeah. Computer details scanner. All right. Do we have another question?
Question coming from Wendy F. Dear Lex and Shane, we currently have only one license for PDQ Deploy and Inventory, Enterprise. I would like to ask the boss to purchase at least one more license for another admin so that I can share the workload. Is there anything that I need to do to ensure that all admins see the same collections, reports, packages, deployment schedules, etc.?
There's two. Hey, Wendy, thank you for wanting to be licensed.
License compliant, yes.
Properly.
Thank you.
We know who you are. So thank you. There's kind of two options that you have.
Yeah.
And a very common one that our customers do is that they will use the same console, a server somewhere, and then just, even if they have one logon account that all the admins use, you still need to have the appropriate number of licenses, but that's a common way of doing it. Some do have, PDQ Deploy and Inventory on a server, and then all the admins remote in there using their own credentials into a terminal server.
Be careful, guys.
Yeah,
be careful. That database can get corrupt pretty easy.
That could cause some problems, but we do have some people that do that. And then, of course, if all the admins have their consoles on their own computers. You can use the sharing mechanisms. It's, as you mentioned, enterprise. It's an enterprise feature.
Yeah, I think we got some videos. JJ, do we got the links for those?
I'm sorry,
For the
For which?
how to share databases and share
Wires.
packages and stuff? Can we get those links
I
out?
If you
don't
just go
have
to
those right now,
go
but-
to adminarsenal.com and look at videos
That's a nice photo.
and type in something like sharing, yeah, you'll see a lot of different videos there for
perfect.
sharing for inventory, your collections and things like that, as well as deploy, sharing packages and deploy history, etc. So there's quite a few there. That's for the enterprise customers and all of the admins that use their own console. And then we do have some features in the works that are going to make that even easier,
Yeah.
forthcoming. So there's a couple of options that you have. And thank you again.
Next question from Stephen A. with a cute little picture of his dog with PDQ on the chest. Aww. Is there a way to have inventory make a report where it pulls and shows all computers with duplicate serial numbers? This is caused when a computer is renamed and not removed from Active Directory. So both computers show in inventory with the same info but different names. Can I make a report showing all the duplicate serial numbers? Thank you for all the hard work you guys do for me and everyone like me. Cheers, Stephen A.
Stephen, thank you for submitting this question early.
Gave us a chance
Yeah,
to
it's-
actually go in and do some
Yeah, because we were
SQL
able
work there.
actually just able to build a report. In this case, yes, the answer is yes. You can do it. You're going to want to do it using a SQL report, not a basic report. So under reports, you see we've got duplicate serial numbers. I'm going to right-click on this and define report just to show you.
So you have to do some actual SQL work there.
Yeah, and we can certainly. I have no problem making this available, but I tried making this a little bit readable. And I had to hurry and go confirm with Adam. Hey, does this look right? And over left or right or?
Move to the right. I'm going to try to zoom in on it so people that want to like type it out right now.
It's going to be a lot to type out.
It is.
Be happy to make this available.
We will.
All right.
For now.
So yeah, what you're going to need to do is the reason why you have to do a SQL report is you need to use a sub-select. So this is now we have some duplicate serial numbers here, but they're duplicate only because the actual serial number is like system serial number or something like that. So there's a bunch that have those. Notice I did put in here this little guy because some computers just don't have the serial number, but it's not a null. It's not a null field. Thank you. It's not a null field. It's actually just a blank.
It's a nothing field.
Yeah, it's a blank string.
It's not
so
null, it's nothing.
Two single quotes. So I am removing that, and serial number does not equal. That's the exclamation point equal.
Blank. Nothing.
Single quote, single quote. So that removes those. But we'll run this, and this will show you what happens. And I did throw the is online because if you've got duplicate computers, the chances are that one is online and the other bad ones are not. So that'll give you a help there. But this is notice we have some that just say system serial number, right? And this is more of our lab. I ran this in production, and we do have two computers that you had messed with. We had Token 2 and Doken that had the same serial number.
Yeah.
Token 2 is offline right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that should do it for you. So yeah, you will need a basic report or a SQL report.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and one of the drawbacks there, you have the power to do it, but this cannot become a collection. A collection, remember how you can create collections from reports and reports from collections, but the requirement there is the report has to be a basic report using the basic report interface. So hopefully that answers your question.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way for PDQ to notify me of OS or memory changes? Christopher Walken, and I need more cowbell.
I need more cowbell. My
Hey,
God.
Christopher. That's such a great sketch.
That is the best.
And pretty much anything from Christopher Walken is
I would
awesome. No. Sorry.
How would you like me to expand on that?
Yeah.
No.
So no, there's not a trigger or anything like that for that you can set for, hey, if this changes in inventory, let me know. Besides something that built in like the heartbeat that you use that trigger to deploy a package. So no, it's something you're going to just need to kind of keep an eye on. Create reports. You know, if you have a standard baseline like 16 gigabytes or something like that,
You build a report that says anything that's out of the standard.
yeah,
There you go.
and then take a peek at that. But no, there isn't a trigger mechanism. It's not a bad idea, actually. So. Do you have any more questions?
Dear Shane and Lex, I have about 19 different unmanaged versions of Firefox 32 and 64-bit across 335 computers. I'd like to get this under control and linearized onto Firefox ESR, then maintain updates with the auto-deployment package for Firefox ESR. I have PDQ Deploy and PDQ Inventory with enterprise licenses. What's the best way to get to my end game? Chad B.
Chad, first thing, take away the user's admin rights on their machines, then they won't be installing stuff. Okay.
Yep.
After that, collections, my friend. The collections and inventory are the best way to go at
Yeah,
it.
since you have enterprise in both. Well, first of all, I'm not sure if you've created an auto deployment schedule before, but we do have a lot of videos out there for that. What you're going to want to do is go to your package library. Go to Firefox ESR. Select that, go to New Auto Deployment, create a new schedule. You might want to do a couple of different schedules. Depends on how you like to handle your change
Whether you
management.
want to be nice or not.
Yeah, you might have one schedule that hits machines, like a handful of machines, shortly after the new ESR is released, and then another schedule that waits an extra week or something like that. But anyway, we'll just call this one Firefox ESR. So you want to create this now. Your targets, since you have the
It's important that you link to these targets at this point,
Yeah,
because
don't-
otherwise it's a static collection that you're choosing. So link to.
Yep, you want to do a link to, and this is where it kind of gets since you have kind of disparate versions, I
yeah.
should say. You might have to get a little tricky here. It's not just enough to say link to. We have a Mozilla Firefox ESR, and this is always using the latest channel of the ESR. So right now it's at version 45, I believe. Anyway, you can go to the Mozilla Firefox ESR old. That'll take care of those that already have an old ESR. And same with if you want this on all computers
For not installed.
or
yeah.
all workstations, you can expand that and say all ESR not installed on a workstation.
Yeah.
Where this could give you a problem is if you try to install the ESR. Actually, I haven't had this. No, I haven't had this problem. I was thinking of something else. ESR. If you install the ESR on top of a machine that already has a Firefox
not an
non-ESR
ESR
or 32 or 64, this package will actually uninstall that previous one. So you should be good to go. Have this be your target. Have this be your target if you want, or you can just say ESR old. Any machine that has the ESR old. Set your triggers accordingly. You know, maybe the heartbeat when they come online, and weekly on weekdays. Just
Do
for
it midday.
example.
Make sure you shut down their browser. Teach them not to install stuff on their machines. That's how they learn,
You
man.
suck.
That's how they learn.
I'll do 5 p.m.
You're
Okay, so here's
nice.
one for 5 p.m.
It's like end users are like dogs. You hit them hard once, and then they learn. Oh, I shouldn't do that.
And then,
Reporting you.
and then, this is another way of doing it. So you've got this. Right now, we only have the target set to the ESR old. Then just go out to the package library. And remember, when you create a package in auto deployment, it does not import.
Yeah.
Anything that you import is something that you want to use outside of auto deployment.
Onesie twosies.
So I'm going to actually import the Firefox ESR, and then just blast this out. Just a one time
Launch, yeah.
to your systems out there. There's Firefox ESR. Hit your deploy.
My
Choose your
suggestion
targets.
is about 12:45. Most people do their lunch, then they get on to their online banking. That's the best time to hit them with this.
Yeah.
Remind them once again who the boss
So
is.
one good thing, if you want to get this out to all the machines, and you don't have ESR out there right now, but you want to get them all standardized on this, just go to your collection library, go to Firefox. There's all the computers that have Firefox. That top level one is Firefox ESR and Firefox. Let me see. No, just hit all the Firefox right here. These are not the ESR ones. Blast all these out there. and then these are all get on the current version, which is 45.3, and then the next time a version comes out, these computers will be in the old ESR. So there's a couple of ways you can do this, but we've built the packages to actually
Smart enough to uninstall previous.
Yeah, it'll uninstall an old 64-bit. If this is a 32-bit ESR, it'll just automatically replace the other Firefox, even if it's a later version, with this one. So it works pretty well. Hopefully that'll take care of it.
Remember, don't give them admin rights, man. That's what starts this problem in the first place.
And we have a burning question from Derek P. Is it possible to determine if an application was installed based on a prior scan? Basically, a new applications report or collection.
We don't have kind
like
of. Yeah, we don't have historical data. So in other words, I mean, that's a lot of the more expensive solutions out there will have historical data, so you can see what has changed.
Can we pull install date though?
You can do install date. So in as much as we don't have historical data, if you look, just so you show, I'll open up just a computer here. Abraham, look at the applications, and you'll see the install date there. So you could have a collection that says, show me all, any computer or a report, any computer that has an application that was installed
after. And
you can do a relative date. So anytime, installed within 3 days of the running of this report, or 3 days of this collection right now, and that's relative to whenever you're looking at it. And then, of course, you could do fixed dates, anything that was installed after August 15th, for example. So yeah, there's a couple of ways you can do it, as Lex mentioned with the scan date, but we don't have historical data, so it's not like you can say, show me anything that's changed on this computer.
Well, I'll drink to that.
I'm already out.
Are you out? Really?
I got a little bit.
And our next novel comes from Darren S. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Oh, no. Wrong novel.
Here, give me a glass.
Is there a way to create an auto-deployment using a custom package? I have a collection from a report that searches the computers for the following registry key that is set to 0. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. I have a registry scan in the standard scan profile that runs weekly and under application scan profile. So every time a computer goes into the collection, I want it to automatically deploy my custom package that changes the value of the key from 0 to 1. I have over 1,200 computers, which includes hundreds of laptops that are not online most of the week. Hope that makes sense. Darren S.
You have good news and bad news, Darren.
There's no auto deployment. However,
there's no auto deployment for custom packages. However, you can do what you're looking for really with just your own custom package. Yeah, you have to, as new versions of whatever this package is come out, you have to go and add that to the schedule. But what you're going to want to do is create a schedule. So we'll say, we'll say you're talking about. We've got this test deployment. We'll say that this is a custom package. Obviously, it's not part of the auto deployment. When you go to deploy, just do a new schedule. And set your triggers. And this is for the laptops especially. Set your triggers appropriately. So maybe you want to run this once a day. I'm just going to throw that out there. And then do a heartbeat, so that it's based off of when a computer, the inventory sees is offline, goes to online, and is in this collection, it gets triggered. Your targets, you're going to want to link to that collection that you're talking about. So you use link to, point to this collection. On your options, you probably want to have the stop deploying to computers once they succeed. Unless all this does is change, probably want to have this. If you're seeing these computers get this registry value changed quite a bit, then uncheck that, because they may have this registry value changed and then it gets changed back. If this package hasn't been changed since, or updated since, then they wouldn't get that. So you might want to, depends on, I don't know the specifics, you might want to uncheck that. Depends on what this package does. Anyway.
Now, I just wanted to add something with your collection. You want to use a variable with your collection so that you can alter versions of that. So you have one spot. If you're doing versions, you've got a new collection, you're going to go change the version of it. You go change the variable. You don't have to go change the collection. It just accesses that variable, and you're good to go at that point.
Yeah. So set your targets to this collection. Once again, I'm not quite, don't have it quite nailed down on what this package does besides this registry value. So you might want to uncheck that. Say okay. Next time you go in to this package after you created it, you'll see the packages there. If you create a new version of this, you have to come attach to a schedule, add the new package, the new custom package, and remove the old one.
Package.
And then that resets the computer history for everybody. But that will honestly take care of it. The benefit of the auto deployment is, yeah, it's based off of what's in the package library. The package library tends to change quite a bit, those packages, and this is just more of a set it and forget it. So when a new version of Java or Firefox or something comes out, you don't have to go and do this where you remove the old package and add the new one. That just takes care of that for you. So no, the answer is no, but you can still get what you want. Hopefully that answers it.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to have PDQ Deploy move to the next set of credentials if the first fails? I have a few different credentials based on whether it is a user, workstation, server, or non-domain computer. Thanks, Doug K.
Okay, so the answer is right now no, and we are considering doing that. Here's one of the problems you run into, and by you I mean us, when we're considering this. We have been asked this before. Hey, cycle through these. One problem about cycling is almost all of you have password policies set that will lock out an account after
So many attempts.
Certain number of failed attempts. And basically, if we just started to cycle through, we have to figure out a way of getting around that or of working within that space. Because if we were just to start cycling through, you could lock out those accounts that are valid for other devices, depending on your password policy. So right now, no, it really is. Now, we pull that question back up, will you?
Preview what's coming.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're considering doing, just so you know, a preview, is the ability to have, and we haven't locked this down yet, so this could change, but the ability to have PDQ Deploy use the scan user credentials from inventory. In inventory, to get around this, let's say Abraham always uses, let's go to computer here. If you scroll on down, you'll see the scan user is Quintana. And I could change that here and choose another set of credentials, and then anytime I scan Quintana, it's going to use those credentials. So for local machines that aren't a member of the domain, you change their scan user. You can also change the scan user much easier by just right-clicking, select scan user.
So then there's a reference to go after that we know works for inventory. And
so we're considering doing that. That way you set your scan users appropriately in inventory, and Deploy will always use that scan user as the deploy user.
Yeah.
So for right now, no, you're just going to have to, do what you're doing now and just apply a little bit of thought to it. I apologize. Are there any more questions?
Oh yeah. Dear Shane and Lex, is it possible to use auto deployment for the applications that are not in the packages list? For example, Adobe Acrobat. Syed N.
You want to answer it?
Do you want I can answer it?
There.
I'd like to expound on that, but you can't.
What we had just talked about previously.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take Adobe Acrobat. And
we build a schedule and alter it just like we did before. But yeah, again, auto deployment is set it and forget it for stuff that we maintain here.
So you just need to create your own schedule and then just keep on top of those. As a new version of Acrobat comes out, you go and replace that, attach the new package to that schedule, remove the old one, and then you're taken care of.
Yep.
Kicks off on the same schedule. By you adding that packet, that new version, that's the equivalent in auto deployment of the approval or the auto approval. So it's an extra step for you, but no, just kind of keep on top of it. One cool thing about it is, whenever there's a new version of Reader, there's almost always a corresponding version of Acrobat. So if you see a new version of Reader come out, then you can go out and grab that new version of Acrobat.
Yep.
And our final question of the day from Dandy Dan S. Can you add conditions to auto-deploy? I know you can get around this by using inventory collections, but it would be nice to have conditions available in auto-deployment.
It depends. I mean,
Loosely, yeah, kind of.
there's kind of a way around. Yeah, there's kind of a way around it where you can set. You can have kind of steps that run. You can have custom steps that run before the auto deployment package and then after.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm not sure what type of conditions you're looking for.
Mid install, you can't. Again, it's going to be before or after.
Correct. And then if you want to get around something like let's say that you only want to have a package deployed, an auto deployment deployed if no user is logged on or something. Well, you could have a pre-step that says only run this step if a user's not logged on. And if they're logged on, then it would skip that and move on down. So what you'd actually have to do is do some scripting magic. Depending on what you're looking for, you could have a pre-step that says, I only want this to go to Windows 10 computers. And then your script will say, look for, is this Windows 10? If not, it will exit with a return code that is not set as a success.
That will fail.
And that step
point
is set to stop on failure.
Yep.
And then that point that would stop, if that's kind of what you're going for. But you have pre and post steps.
It's a little
conditions.
clunky.
You can't modify those. And of course, as you mentioned, the conditions, or that you can use collections as well, but you're trying to avoid that. So there's some ways around it, but no, you cannot modify the actual auto deployment.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock on. Okay, so a lot of questions.
That was-
Hopefully this answered what you guys are looking for.
That was a good Q&A, guys. Thanks for all the questions.
Next time you see us, the legs will be 44.
That's right. And I'll be wearing a Social Distortion t-shirt,
That's what he said last week.
if someone reminds me.
Rock on, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for joining us today for PDQ&A, and thank you so much for all the questions. If you have additional questions, you can always hit up our support forums. Want to congratulate Darren S. and Chad B., winners of PDQ swag. Just send us an email at webcast@adminarsenal.com, and we'll get that swag out to you. We will see you next week. Have a fantastic weekend.